What's up, everybody? This is Chris, back along with Crystal. This is the Pedal Dance Podcast, but today we are joined not by one person, but by two. The first person is my wife, Dorothy. Dorothy, say hello.
Hi.
All right. And the next person is actually our third co-host. Third co-host, would you like to say hello?
Yes, my name is Ty, and I'll be accompanying y'all on this podcast today.
And with as well as future podcasts along with Dorothy. She's not going to be a permanent fixture on the podcast, but she will join us every now and then. But if Crystal, if you're ready to start, do you want to talk about today's topic?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So today's topic will be talking about our personal favorites and least favorites of each generation, starting from Gen 1 to Gen 7, since we don't really have the entire Pokédex information for Generation 8 at this time. So without further ado, we will talk about Generation 1, and I guess whomever can start first. I have a color in mind. If any of y'all guess it correct, you can start first. If not, then I can start first. Would that be fair?
I think that's fair.
Okay. Okay, Ty, you pick your color first.
I have a color in mind, so you three can guess.
Okay, my guess would be purple.
That was my guess. Okay, Dorothy said blue. I'm going to say burgundy.
Well, the color was actually orange, unfortunately.
Well, I think burgundy's closer, because you need red and yellow to make orange, so burgundy's technically closer.
Okay, so I guess we'll go in order based on who is closest to the color orange. So I guess I can go first, Chris can go second. Between purple and blue, which one's closer to orange?
I think that'd be purple, because purple also has red as part of the part of the color mixture.
I went first last time, so.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so I guess I'll start off with Generation 1. And with these choices, we don't really have any rules. Legendaries, mythicals, starters, evolutions all apply. And with that, I'll start off with the best of Gen 1, mostly based on design and their battle cry. And of course, my ice favorite is being my favorite typing. That would be Articuno as my favorite of Generation 1. And my least favorite of Generation 1 would have to go to Farfetch'd. It is just...
Sadness.
Well, it's just in the mix of a lot of normal flying types. It's not really too useful, and if it weren't in Gen 1, it would be even more forgettable, personally.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay, so without further ado, I'll toss this over to you, Chris.
All right. Well, it was a toss-up for me for my favorite, because did I want to go based on nostalgia or do I want to go based on how it is now? And I decided just to go on how it is now. So my favorite Gen 1 Pokemon is Starmie. And my least favorite Pokemon from Gen 1 is Pikachu. Come at me.
We just lost half of our viewers.
Oh, all two of them. Oh, no. All right, so I'm passing it over on the tie.
Okay, so I'll be honest though, I thought we were omitting legendaries and starters and evolutions. I was a little hazy on that one as well, but I managed to exclude evolutions from my list as well.
We were going to, but we decided because they do have a lot of value to people and for more than one reason, we decided just to keep them in, but we're going to try to use them as least as possible. As little as possible.
So my list is going to exclude the legendaries and starters. Because I'll tell you right now, if I did include it, Zapdos probably would have made its way on that list. But no, my least favorite, of course, is Magikarp. I mean, I really think it needs a better moveset. But my favorite, excluding the starters and legendaries, I picked Dragonite. because I just thought he was overall had very good defense and a good diversity and typings of the attacks, what have you. And I just overall admired him really well in Gen 1. And with that being said, I'll pass it to you, Dorothy.
Dun dun dun.
Hey, my favorite out of Gen 1 would be Dugong.
Okay.
And
Okay.
my least favorite is Pikachu.
Pikachu
So
getting
this-
all the hate.
So this is why you two are married.
One of the many reasons. So, Crystal, Gen 2, are you ready?
Oh yeah, going right into it. So for the best, I was actually torn between two Pokemon. I was torn between Espeon and Chinchou. This would be the only time I would use an evolution, so I wasn't really going to exclude it. I was just torn on their designs and appeal to me. And my least favorites, I was also torn, but above all, its ability really makes me so mad when I encounter it in a wild, so that's what made it the worst, and that Pokemon is Wobbuffet.
I knew it.
So without further ado, you can take the lead now, Chris.
We might lose a co-host after this. But my favorite, this is the only time I'm actually going to use a starter, but it is my all-time favorite Pokemon, so I kind of have to use it. I was debating on whether or not I wanted to, but I decided what the heck, because it is my favorite. But that would be the Chikorita line, mainly Meganium. But my least favorite, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Crystal, but Lantern.
Out of the entire second generation,
Out of the entire, I even like Remoraid and Octillery over Lantern.
well,
Oh,
if
wow.
you said Lantern and not Chinchou, because when I think,
Chinchou's adorable.
yeah, it kind of got too normal looking. When I don't mean normal typing, it just lost the adorable eyes, and its antennae are just like super small. It's like puberty in reverse.
Right. It just looks way too eh. Eh. I just don't like it. But I do love Chinchou. So, is that at least fair, Crystal?
Oh yeah, completely.
Okay, cool. All right, so Ty, your turn.
Okay, first off, my brother loves Chinchou. I'm just going to leave it at that. But no, in my opinion, though, my least favorite from Gen 2, I really had to think about this one because I love so many Generation 2 Pokemon. But my least favorite, I would have to say, is Unknown. Okay, I feel like it's like supposed to be some type of legendary, but in the reality, it's just like really, really common because you can find it in the ruins of Alpha or what have you. And on top of that, it only knows one attack, Hidden Power. Like, what's so great about Hidden Power? Come on now. But as for my favorite, again with Gen 2, it is really hard to pick just one, but I had to go with Meryl because Meryl has been in my life pretty much almost the entire time that I've known it. For that matter, I even had a lunchbox in second grade with Meryl on it. So I'm just really partial to Meryl. And with that being said, I'll pass it to you, Dorothy.
Well, I'm just going to comment that your choice of Unknown for the worst I'm applauding that. That was what I was debating between Wobbuffet and Unknown. So, yeah.
Wow, Buffett.
All right, so Dorothy, your turn.
Okay, my favorite would be Steelix,
Nice choice.
but like I want to give an honorable mention to Meganium
Woo!
because I miss my Meganium. And my least favorite would be Sunkern.
What?
Okay. I'm feeling a little offended.
So it has the lowest stat of any Pokemon ever. So what?
At least
that
you
was
said
true.
Sunfern and not Sunflora.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
But I like both.
I mean, the other choice was Sentret.
You could have gone with Sindred. How dare you pick on Sankern?
The Centron's so cute. It's like this little kid.
And Centrix are also too obvious of a choice.
Fair enough. Okay, so now on to Gen 3. Crystal.
Okay, so to no shock to some of you who know me, my favorite in Gen 3 would have to go to Flygon,
Of course.
which, well, yeah, of course, even though I'm not too huge on dragons, like, Flygon's just majestic and amazing and better than Garchomp and Zygarde. Cough.
You take that back.
Okay, and so my least favorite of Generation 3, I got a feeling one of you will be upset. It would be Metacham. Yeah, I just think its design just looks too ridiculous. It has like a weird looking face, and it has, I think I'm allowed to say this, breast on its knees, and it's just a mess.
With those baggy pants, I can picture Medicham doing the hammer dance.
But yeah, you can take it away, Chris.
Now I see that. I can't unsee it. Thank you, Ty. All right, for my favorite, it was down to 2 Pokemon. It was really close, but this is going to be a really unpopular opinion. But I'm going Swalot.
Okay.
Thank you. I just like its design. I love the ability. It was my favorite ability for a period of time. Liquid Ooze, and every time I played through any of the Gen 3 games, I always caught a Gulpin and evolved into a Swalot. Just something about it.
And I think something about it, strangely, it looks adorable. Like, it doesn't have the cute Delcatty or Meganium beauty, but it's just alluring somehow.
Right. But
Because of the whiskers.
Yes. But the one I was debating against would be Camerupt.
Okay.
But my least favorite of Gen 3, I don't know how people are going to feel about this. I don't know who likes it and who doesn't, but Mightyena. And the reason it's my least favorite is, to me, there's nothing special about it. Like, yeah, it looks all right, but if you use it, you're just going to be underwhelmed, especially in the later parts of the game when everything else that you use just surpasses it in every way possible. There's just nothing special about it.
Yeah, Venture say you make a valid point there, Chris. If I may, I'll take that as a segue on my half, if you don't mind.
Well, I do mind. No, I'm joking.
Okay, so so my least favorite out of Gen 3 would have to be Feebas, because I just feel like it's too much work for that beautiful, beautiful Milotic. And really and truly, I don't really see what Milotic has to offer. And that's why Feebas made my list for the worst. Now, my favorite from Gen 3, on the other hand, this was also pretty tricky. But other than Trico, my obsession with Gen 3 was also with Zangoose. And what I really love about Zangoose is that his shiny is blue. And my favorite color is blue, so that just works tremendously. And plus, in those Crush Claws, and False Swipe, and those were very great for catching other Pokemon. So that's why it made my favorite. How about you, Dorothy?
My favorite would have been Gorbis.
Interesting.
I just always thought it was pretty. I just want to mention, I used to hate Nosepass and Probopass, but like they kind of grew on me.
Yeah.
Because they just look derpy. And then my least favorite would be Plusle and Minun.
That's fair. You can group those together because
yeah.
They're basically clones.
I was the type that got fooled thinking the other one was a shiny.
I don't know. I think that was a lot of people when they first played.
Yeah.
All right, so with that, Crystal, Gen 4.
Gen 4, of course, one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, just falls under the Gen 4 umbrella, would have to be Roserade. Beautiful, majestic, powerful,
Lame.
wonderful typing. Although Vespiquen was also high up the list, so honorable mention. And my Gen 4 worst, I hope I'll be saying its name right, Ambipom.
Yep, you're saying it right.
Yeah, I just think it looked like Ambipom was so cute, and then it just, I don't know, it just started looking like the kid in class that picked his nose and wiped it on the kid behind him's back. Its design just, like, it was a huge downgrade for me personally, and it's not really too useful.
Nice.
Would you rather them pick their nose or sniff Smarties?
Nose what nose? Apom doesn't have a nose.
Really?
Yeah.
So is that your segue, Crystal?
Of course.
All right, so on to me. This was tough because I was torn between 3 Pokemon, but 2 of them are extended evolutions, and I really didn't want to go with something that started from a previous gen and was introduced in this gen. So I decided to go against them, which the honorable mentions are those 2, which are Yanmega and Mamoswine. But I'm going to go with my favorite being Garchomp, Crystal. Better than Flygon in every conceivable way.
I'm sorry to hear that.
No, it's not.
Sorry that you like Flygon.
I'm not allowed to say this.
But to be fair, I do not like Mega Garchomp. It looks stupid. And it's worse. How does a Mega become worse than the Pokemon that it Mega evolves from? I don't get it. But with that,
Just pick Lucario.
I don't like Lucario, so.
I don't like the Mega Lucario.
I don't like any of them, especially Riolu.
Yes, Riolu's adorable.
I don't. Well, onward, Ty. Your turn, Gen 4.
Okay, so my least favorite. I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Go lately, and the one generation of Pokemon that's really been annoying me rather has been Sinnoh because of the combi. So combi would obviously be my least favorite for that reason, because I keep getting these really strong combi, but they turn out to be males. And as you know, with combi, you can't evolve the male. You need the female. And I have caught a female, fortunately, so I am able to evolve the one, but it's like every time I get a combi that's stronger, it's male. And that's why combi is my least favorite Pokemon of Gen 4 for the time being. Now, my favorite from Gen 4, one of the first Pokemon I ever had an obsession with since the release of Sinnoh has been Weasel. It just, ever since I've seen it, I love its design. I love its adorableness. It's just really cute. And I even have a toy Weasel for that matter. And it just instantly became one of my favorites. So I can't deny my love for Weasel. And with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to you, Dorothy.
Well, it's actually going back to me just for a minute because I did not mention my least favorite.
Oh, you didn't.
But I'm going to do that right quick. My least favorite is Bonsly for one reason. If you played XD, Gale of Darkness, you will understand.
Yeah, I understand.
Thank you, Crystal. Thank
Well,
you.
that and Munchlax, if you're talking about the Poke Snacks.
Put all the babies on the list.
I still got to get back on that game. I backtracked to the GameCube era.
It's you're gonna hate the Bonsly thing that you have to do. It's annoying. And with that, Bonsly is my least favorite 4th generation Pokemon. So, Dorothy, it's on to you.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
My favorite would be Miss Magius.
Nice.
And I want to get up an honorable mention to Cricketune.
What?
That was great.
Like golden shiny, doesn't it?
Cricketune? Yes.
Yeah, it has a really nice shiny. And my least favorite would be Bidoof.
I saw that one coming. It was almost mine.
But it's so beautiful and handsome and better than Arceus.
Agreed. Arceus,
What's
but
wrong
choose
with you?
the new Arceus. But anyway,
Agree,
that's fun.
agree to disagree.
Yeah. So now we're on to Gen 5. Crystal.
So Gen 5, I like Pokemon that really look unique, so no surprise, Sigilyph is my favorite from Generation 5. When I saw it in the desert, it was like a moment of shock and love at first sight.
Interesting
And,
choice.
oh yeah, it's definitely interesting. And my least favorite of Gen 5 also is my least favorite Pokemon of all time, and that would be Durant. Obnoxious battle cry. It always looks angry, so I get angry when I look at it. It's obnoxiously fast when you encounter it in a wild, try to run away but can't. It just needs to get exterminated. So you can now talk, Chris.
All right. Well, for me, my favorite. This was another close one because I was down to a couple, but I did manage to narrow it down. And my favorite is Garbodor. Mostly because of the TCG. Garbodor has had some really good cards. One of them actually won this year's World Championship, which I think is really cool. But the other Pokemon that was in contention with for my favorite was Excadrill. But my least favorite, there's a lot of them. But if I had to choose one, I would have to go the counterpart to Durant, Heatmore. It's just an anteater. I don't see what's the big deal about it. There's nothing special about it. Like, it doesn't look unique. It has no unique moves. It's just there.
Monotype.
Yeah, it was just there to fill up the Pokédex spot.
Well, that and they haven't really done an anteater before. I think they just did it just to do it.
Yeah, fair enough. But with that, Ty, your turn.
Okay, so for mine, my least favorite for the Unova region, I had to choose the Gothitelle line, especially Gothitelle herself, for that matter. But the reason why I don't really like it all that much is because Jinx had a banned episode in the first generation because it looked too much like a black person. Well, in my opinion, the Gothitelle line, all of those evolutions, rather, they look like they look like a black person, but they didn't. I don't recall them getting a racial ban quite like Jinx did, and I just think that was very unfair and unfitting. So that's why it's my least favorite. But my favorite from the Unova region would definitely have to be Axew, because that pretty much made the entire series of Unova region worth watching, in my opinion, when you could finally learn how to tolerate Iris if you could. Well, if you could learn to tolerate Iris, Axew was my reason for watching it. And that does remind me, speaking of the anime, uh, there was an Alolan episode where they pronounced it Garbodor. And and that's going back to you that's going back to you, Chris. But now, so with that being said, I will pass the baton on to Dorothy. So.
Well, actually, just going to intercept real quick. Um, so just to further clarify that controversy with Jinx, of course, this is not me taking sides or anything, because it is what happened when Jinx was first introduced. There's just something racist about being blackface, and Jinx had a black face. Now it's purple. And even though the Gothitelle line's completely black, its face is also purple like Jinx. So I think that's the controversy they were trying to avoid. Once again, not taking sides, just wanting to elaborate that.
It still sounds very dodgy and just overall horrible in my opinion. But I just wanted to point that out.
Chris stepped out for a moment, so
I'm sorry about that.
guess I'll just go with mine.
Okay.
My favorite, it was like a mix between three of them. But like if I had to choose, it would be the Sawsbuck line. Mostly because they all change their antlers with the season, and I think it's like the springtime where it has like all the flowers. It's just really majestic. And my least favorite would probably be Mandibuzz.
I could see that. Although I would think that Mandibuzz's pre-evolution was probably worse than Mandibuzz herself, but it's your least favorite, not mine. So.
And then I just want to give the honorable mentions to Chandelure and Hydreigon, because like those are like my top three if I had to choose.
And they are very understandable. Top threes. I think they're pretty cool. But I guess I will go ahead and take the lead for Generation 6.
Go, Crystal!
Okay, I was wondering when you would be back. So for Generation 6, before I say the best, I do have to ask, when Mega Evolution was introduced in this generation, are we counting the Megas as Generation 6, or just reflecting what generation the Pokemon they came from?
Just the Pokemon that came from Gen 6.
Oh, okay. So with that, my favorite
If
generation...
you do want to do like a side thing just for like one particular Mega, that'd be fine.
I guess it can be a honorable shout out. So my favorite in Generation 6 would have to go to Florges. I think Florges is a very gorgeous Pokemon. All the different flower patterns are beautiful. I personally was a fan of the white flower a little bit more than the others. Just I thought that complemented it a little bit more. But my honorable mention was actually going to be Mega Pinsir.
Nice!
When I first saw the design and typing bug flying, I wasn't too thrilled with it because I felt like they really made Pinsir not really a unique Pokemon by doing that. But when I actually essentially shut up and used it, I was pretty happy. I felt powerful in control, and I fell in love with its design. And my least favorite in Generation 6, Chris, you're not going to like this, will be Quilladin. It's the one time in Pokemon history I pressed B on the first evolution until it learned that final move, evolved it, and then used a rare candy immediately just so I won't have to look at its face. I'm sorry, but there's just something about that face that just really repels me.
The power of B repels you.
I wasn't a big fan of Quilladin either.
It's adorable. But
It's so pudgy.
I look like the face.
It is not the face of Mercy. So, Crystal, does that mean you're passing it on to me?
Nah, yeah, go ahead.
Because you know I'm going to be getting you back anyway, right?
Oh yeah, I know.
Okay. Well, it was a tough call for my favorite, but I really finally made a decision for my favorite of Gen 6. And looking at it now, it's kind of easy in hindsight that this should have been just the first pick regardless. But my pick for my favorite Gen 6 Pokemon is Aegislash. I really don't need a reason, but it's just amazing.
That's a good Pokemon.
It is. Strong. But my least favorite, Crystal, I know you're going to be mad.
It's Greninja, I get it.
Yes, it's Greninja. I despise Greninja with a passion. We've already went through this. It does not deserve anything it ever gets or will ever get in the future.
I'm just glad that I loved it first before it got famous, but that's all I have to say.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, Greninja is my least favorite of Gen 6.
Greninja was why I chose Froakie.
Greninja's the reason I restarted and didn't choose Froakie again.
But
Anyway,
Hi, do you want to take the lead?
I sure will. Okay, so my least favorite from Gen 6, honestly, this is because of the insane amount of popularity it got from one of the characters in the video game. But my least favorite is Flabebe because of the popularity it got from AZ. Okay, I'm not necessarily hating on the line or anything, but it's just like, why is your favorite Pokemon not fully evolved? And like, I mean, you train this Pokemon, it's not even fully evolved, and it's just like floating out of the sky. And you got like a ton of memes saying it's been 3,000 years or what have you. It's
Wasn't
just a
it Flo-
Flabebe. I don't see the big deal. It's just a Flabebe. I
It was
really don't.
actually a Floette.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
Floette, not
Floette.
Flabebe.
Okay, my bad. My bad. That whole line kind of confuses me a little bit because they all sound alike. But yeah, but yeah. So yeah, somebody's saying it was a Flabebe though. I can't remember where I got that from. But yeah. Um, just I wasn't really big on the line, so I never really bothered to learn the order of the evolutions. But yeah, so my favorite from Kalos would definitely have to be Noivern. So yeah, that was the thing there. Oh, and
That's just me.
if I had to pick a mega, I would say Mega Sceptile was probably my favorite that came out of the Mega Evolutions. Even
Okay,
though
but
it's got a 4 times weakness to ice. I know, but it's still my favorite because I just love that the dragon part, the part of it. So, all right. And with that being said, I'll pass it to you, Dorothy.
okay, and before she starts, my favorite Mega, I would agree with Crystal, is Mega Pinsir for that gen. But okay, sorry to interrupt, baby.
Yeah.
I like Mega. What's its face? Haunter.
Mega Gengar.
Yeah.
Mega Gengar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, my favorite out of Gen 6 would be Gourgeist. And my least favorite will probably be Dedenne. And of course, like the honorable mention going to Delphox because that was my starter.
All right.
And like for some reason, I put Furfrou on there. I guess because you could customize them with
Because
a
it's
different hand, with the different
haircuts.
yeah, and he just looked like he didn't give a flip.
He rocked all those hairstyles. All right, so Crystal, Gen 7, are you ready?
Absolutely. So Gen 7, my best and worst will actually both be Ultra Beasts. Of course, with that being said, my favorite one's probably predictable. This was before I knew it was very competitively viable. Veramosa, I just thought represented so much elegance, grace, and when I got to know its stats, that was also impressive. It was fast and could whip some butts, since I can't really use the other word while we're recording. And my least favorite would have to be Guzzlord. Again, not too huge on the dragon typing, and I find its design a little bit odd. Just kind of all over the place, disorganized. Like Sigilif was a unique hit for me, but Guzzlord was a unique miss. I don't really have anything positive to say about it. It's not even good in battle. But yeah,
It's too designed in my eyes.
it's what?
Too over designed to me.
Oh yeah, that's probably why I don't like it. But I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Crystal. Well, my favorite, this was easy. There was others I liked, but I'll give a shout out to those in a second. But my favorite from Sun and Moon is Silvally. Ever since I saw it, I knew it was going to be my favorite. I love the whole backstory about it, trying to make an Arceus type Pokemon with it. I thought that was just really cool. the RKS system with the different plates that it has. I thought it was not plates but memories that it has. I thought was really cool. And it just looks awesome. Good type, not typing, good stats too. Some honorable mentions for my first favorites include Palossand, Toxapex, Delmise,
Nice.
and just because of the way it looks, Toucannon. Just the way he looks, Phil. That's me every morning when I wake up. And me when I wake up.
You say that to me every day.
That is you every day. That's me when I try to talk to you. That's me when I try to hug you. That's me when I try to offer you something. That's just you as a Pokemon.
Family squabbles.
You look like you want to murder somebody's family. And the last two Pokemon I want to give an honorable mention to is close to being my favorites are Vikavolt and Golisopod.
You must really like that 7th generation. Those were a lot of shout outs.
I was pleasantly surprised at Gen 7. Especially after what Gens 5 and 6 did.
Yeah, also.
But my least favorite, this was a tough one between two Pokemon.
I know what one of them is, or are, whichever is grammatically correct.
You really do?
I have a strong guess because I remember you ranting about how much you hated. Do you say it? Bruxish?
Bruxish. Yeah, that's the runner-up.
And the winner?
My least favorite Gen 7 is Salandit, just for the fact that the males cannot evolve. I do like Salazzle, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of like the same reason I'm not a big fan of okay, I take it back because I do love Vespiquen as well, but I just don't like that the males don't evolve. But this one in particular, yeah, it really rubs me the wrong way because it was fine because it was the first time it happened with Combee and Vespiquen, but the fact that they did it again,
And it kind of sucks if you run into a shiny male one of those.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And one more shout out for this on one of my least favorites, if that's fine.
Go right ahead.
Comfey.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
The little Hawaiian necklace looking flower necklace thing.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I just don't. I mean, come on, Klefki was more inventive than that.
Well, honestly, I think they did it just because it really represents the Hawaiian nature that they were trying to base the entire region off of. It's like they had to put it in there somewhere, but I would have preferred they'd put it on a Pokemon myself.
I wish they would have put it in like something that happens in a certain event in the game where your character gets one of those necklaces put on them or something like that. Not making it to a Pokemon.
Yeah.
And a possible excuse for them to make another fairy since they kind of overloaded us, comparatively speaking.
Right. And also, I do like Togedemaru just for the fact that Crystal cannot say his name. So.
That's not fair.
I have a Togedemaru right here on my bed.
I want to add something. Comfey kind of reminds me of Klefki.
But Klefki is more creative.
Klefki you can actually like use.
And Klefki has a better typing.
And better in battle with that prankster.
Right? Now we're going to turn it over to Todd.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so my least favorite from the Alolan generation would definitely have to be both Yungoos and Gumshoos. Because honestly, like, just keep your politics out of my Pokemon. That's the reason it's my least favorite. And my favorite from the Alolan generation would definitely have to be the Midnight Form Lycanroc. It was one of my first obsessions. But had I been able to choose a legendary for my listing, I definitely would have gone with Solgaleo, because Solgaleo was definitely more of my obsession with the Alolan region, as well as Zeraora. Between both of those, I love them to pieces. And I actually was also picking an Alolan form that I love the most. It was Alolan Exeggutor. So that was something I wanted to add as well. And I'm not sure if y'all want to backtrack to the Alolan forms or what have you, but if not, then I'll pass it to Dorothy.
Well, I mean, I could do that. Mine's relatively simple. My favorite Alolan form is Alolan Muck.
I'm going to think about that while Dorothy presents hers.
Okay. Oh, my favorite, I had to go with Salazzle.
Yes, that was my second favorite. Thank you for picking it.
And then, it was really between Salazzle and Crabrawler. Because I love Crabrawler. He looks like he's been in too many bar fights, and he's still ready to. He's still ready to go.
He's so ready to mess your crap up.
He's even got that drunk stare.
He's got that regal bare knuckle boxer type feel to him, and I love it. I just don't like the mess he turns into.
You know, I got a shiny one on the game.
Nice.
Yeah.
So who's your favorite?
I'll get to that.
Oh.
And then another one I wanted to mention was Minior.
Excuse me.
Because you can get different colors. They're just pretty.
Yeah, fair enough.
And while we were talking about Alolan forms, mine would have been Marowak.
Nice.
Not a bad choice.
I like his little green flames.
Yeah.
And I think my least favorites are actually pretty common. Bruxish and Gumshoes.
Okay. Nice. Fair enough. So, Crystal, did you choose your favorite Alolan form?
Well, I did, but I'm not too big into the Alolan forms. Like, I looked at them design-wise, it would have to go with Alolan Ninetales, but when I used it, I wasn't too thrilled with it. But I really liked using Alolan Muck, but I don't like its design, so I really can't really give a shout out to any of them personally.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm ready for the tag.
Yes, I know I am too. But with that, that is our topic for today. We are actually done. It was a lot of fun doing this podcast episode. I know Dorothy enjoyed herself. Ty, did you enjoy yourself?
Oh, yes, always.
And Crystal, how did you enjoy it?
This was definitely a nice topic. I love how a lot of our answers were different, even with the shortest generation, Gen 6.
Yeah, good point. Didn't realize that. But that's actually a wrap for us. Crystal, would you like to do the outro like you normally do?
I guess I can do that. Any other final thoughts or comments before we close out?
Greninja still sucks.
Nothing comes to mind unless we're going to go with those angles of disagreements.
We'll just save that for another day.
So yeah, with that, Greninja is a star, a water shuriken star. And with that, yeah, this is Crystal, Chris, Dorothy, Ty. Thank you for listening to the Petal Dance podcast. Please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, report if you feel like it. Comment below if you have any favorites or least favorites that you would like to share, or just start an argument with us. We love that as well. And that's, again, the Petal Dance podcast, and peace out.
Bye.
Later.